And now for the last part. Okay, thank you. We will tell you a little story about the fictional character that we introduced at the beginning during the opening. Pesho.
So let's get started. On a beautiful summer day in a very nice house, we find little Pesho, who is 6 years old. Pesho's parents are extremely busy people, and they have to juggle the tasks of family and work life. So what happens is that Pesho receives a tablet in the morning where he plays games for a few hours without any question. So there is nothing wrong with that, is there?
In our next situation, we have again the same character, and mind you, you probably will recognize someone that you know in such situations. Is Pesho again at the dinner table with his parents, again scrolling, watching videos, and his mother decides, no, we're not going to take this, you will eat with us in peace, and takes the tablet away. In this moment, Pesho starts screaming and crying. And you know how children are. It's difficult to manage them, so I don't know from personal experience, since I don't have children, so probably some of you might. So he just doesn't give up, but his mother does, and brings back the tablet again. This is his habit now.
So in the evening, Pesho is still playing on his tablet, but this time he's playing a different game, because after 5 hours of the first, he's now bored. This new game, however, has a very special feature. It allows him to open random boxes which give random rewards, and the best of these rewards will make him unbeatable at the game. These boxes are paid, however, but his parents have nothing against making him happy, so they happily give him some money to pay for those boxes. And after 10 such boxes, each of these boxes is the last box, however, he manages to open one box with a very valuable reward, and now Pesho can sleep soundly in his bed.
A few years later, Pesho is a grown-up, and he's a teenager. He's doing his morning routine before going to school, and he's at the toilet seat. I know some of you raised hands. Don't worry, it's not shameful. We all do it. But keep in mind that doing this can cause some serious health issues, such as hemorrhoids. Besides that, the time is unproductive. He's sitting there watching the cats, and he goes through 200 or even more videos. That's within less than an hour, 30 minutes. He can't remember more than 1 or 2 of them.
So, unfortunately for Pesho, he still has to go to school, and he's not really paying attention to the teachers. The material is difficult, it's generally not very interesting for him. But he already did his part. He had to solve a very difficult equation, 7 times 8, which he Googled, so he could find the answer. And he could Google it because he also has the phone under his desk, chatting with his friends all day. The chats with his friends are interesting because they seem a bit sporadic. The messages always seem open-ended. He's communicating with multiple people at the same time. And this causes him to keep reaching for the phone under his desk after every few seconds, really, upon getting a notification or not even getting one.
But Pesho learns a lot about the world with social media. He learns that money is the most important thing in life, as well as expensive cars, watches, you know the stuff. He has a plan to get rich. He steals his father's credit card and signs up for a few betting websites. After several tries, in total, he won 10 leva. And before going to sleep, he decided to spend them online. All of his night, he scrolls through online shops, deciding what to get, but then he didn't buy anything, of course. But, well, it's time to sleep. It's past midnight already. He can't wait to share his achievement with his parents. They will be so proud.
A few years have passed, actually, not a few, quite a few years have passed. He is now a young adult who's managed to find a job. He realized that gambling is not a great long-term financial strategy, and the whole get-rich-quick schemes from the internet also didn't work out. So now he works a day job, and he's currently in the subway on his way to work. He wants to do something productive while he's staring at his screen blankly, not really realizing what he's seeing. And he remembers that one of his influencer idols recommended a book recently. So he opens up the book, downloads it on his device, opens it up, starts reading. But after the first page, he realizes that it's so boring and so hard to read, and he does not really understand the meaning behind the words. So he closes the book, the digital version of the book, and just waits for his stop to come.
Peshu is having lunch with his colleagues at work. One of the colleagues shares that he had a trip with his family recently, and Peshu is triggered. He didn't find love until now, so he installs a dating app, you know, the popular type, and he starts swiping left and right. He knows that after maybe 100 more swipes, he will eventually get a single date. Honestly speaking, his chances are not great.
Evening comes again, and Peshu comes home after a full day at work in front of the monitor. So what does he do? He sits in front of a monitor, in front of his favorite streaming service, and watches 4 episodes of his new favorite show. Without him noticing, of course, the night sleeps away, and in his bed, once again, we find Peshu scrolling on another device, a funny cat video. An old classmate got engaged, but then he sees a big surprise. There is a discount on some very fancy wireless headphones that cost half of his salary. The other half of his salary is going towards a loan which he took to buy his second-hand car. The desire to take advantage of this deal, however, is much stronger than his willpower, so he adds it to cart.
Well, we see that Peshu's life is not ideal. And even though we can debate that it's his individual responsibility to take the choices that he did, it's also the environment that makes him do certain decisions, and it's easier for him to do it instead of more healthy choices.
We can list many techniques and UX patterns from Peshu's example, such as gamification patterns, which, when left uncontrolled, can provoke addiction in little children. Children can also get exposed to gambling patterns without ever visiting a betting website. And this is to the example that within some games, you can basically gamble on a reward you're going to get, which is randomized of variable value.
Let's not forget the introduction of short format videos, that now even 1 minute video is a little bit too long. And technology also affects our memory. I think some of our lectors already mentioned how much we rely on our devices to remember instead of us. And in long term, this affects our own way of thinking and our own ability to remember stuff.
We know that all of this sounds a bit pessimistic and negative, but as designers who bear responsibility about the environment we design for, we can also participate in building a better world. And in this better world, our second, or the same second character lives, Peshu the second.
So we will start again from the beginning. We will go through all of the stages again, very briefly. And this time, in this world, the way that the technology is made, it just prompts Peshu to do better choices. For example, when he's with his parents, the digital assistant helped his parents organize their day so that they can spend more time with their child.
Also, after a series of studies, it became clear that replacing human communication with screen time can actually lead to some language development issues in small children. However, in a tech-based world, it's also very important not to isolate children from technology. So therefore, Peshu's parents use software that is designed not only to entertain Peshu, but also educate him and encourage communication. So together with Peshu, before lunchtime, with the help of AI and AR technologies, they play a game which allows Peshu to explore the world interactively, tactilely, and this way he learns about the environment, getting direct contextual information, and he's also communicating with his parents at the same time. So during lunch, the tablet now, or corresponding device he's using for such a purpose, is resting on a desk nearby, while the trio enjoys some family time and a peaceful meal together.
And instead of scrolling endlessly and watching inappropriate for his age videos, the technologies recognize that the child is viewing the content, so they limit the time that he spends, limit the content that they can view. And now Peshu can spend more time in nature and with his peers.
A few years later, Peshu is now a teenager. He wakes up in the morning, again, spends some time on social media, taking photos, his cats, whatever. But the algorithm is designed in such a way that he only sees content from his friends initially, and he's also not always being exposed to aggressive marketing strategies. And overall, the experience on the platform is a bit more safeguarded for minors. There are settings that allow him to filter additional content, like educational segments in his feed, and just things that are of actual interest to him. The overall strategy of the platforms is to promote content substance over content quantity.
And talking about education, in school, instead of being bored, he's now excited to go, because they're using VR and AR technologies to make children feel the environment, learn by doing, be, for example, on the moon or on Mars, and learn easier.
Speaking about learning, Peshu also has access to a very valuable resource. There is an algorithm which can assess his talents and, based on his desires, create a plan through which he can achieve incredible long-term growth through very small daily steps. So Peshu discovered at an early stage that he can be a great musician one day, and his parents, trusting the algorithm, encouraged him to play the guitar every evening before going to bed.
And when he becomes an adult, he has a flexible work, he has fun working, his environment is created in such a way that he is now able to concentrate. His attention is not always scattered, and he can focus on the book that he wants to read.
And when it came time for lunch, it was evident that this time he was prepared. He recently learned to cook with the help of an AI assistant, and this AI assistant helps him cook healthy meals that are based on his taste preferences. It was definitely worth it, because with his cooking, he managed to impress a girl, and he's going on another date with her later this week.
And to keep the girl, he has to work out. So Peshu goes to the gym, but he doesn't really enjoy it. Many of us don't. That's why an assistant helps him make a proper meal plan, to track his experiences, and the more active he is, the more regular he is in his activities, the more points he gets. And this is a gamification method that helps him, with these points, buy stuff, for example, the headphones that he needs.
And that's all about Peshu for now. There are countless ways in which we can improve his life. We just listed some of those that feel a bit more personal to us, and we're confident that everyone in this room has their own ideas on how to navigate the chaos. Because we all bear responsibility for the world we create, we have to we have to know that our designs can have a negative but also positive long-term effects, and not just for our example, Peshu, but for whole generations of people.
And you've been listening to all these amazing speakers giving us ideas of how to make the digital environment better. So we
sincerely thank you for attending this year's conference. This is the 12th edition of UX Sofia. We also want to again express our gratitude to our official sponsor, Infragistics. So a bit of applause for them. And of course, the contributing sponsors, Mew, MentorMate, Foray Holiday, and PaySafe.
And to all of our partners, UX Bulgaria, Streamer BG, thank you. Tuktam, Figma Store, Design Weekend, Softuni, participants, Bulgarian Foundation of Biodiversity, Next Basket, Addit, Fado, this is the coffee that we drank, and the volunteers and the photographers. Thank you, everybody.